Your OpenAPI spec has sensitive endpoints you don't want AI models to access, but you still need to expose the rest of your API. We'll use FastMCP's RouteMap system to precisely control which endpoints become AI-callable tools, which get excluded entirely, and how to target them by path patterns or OpenAPI tags. You'll see how to lock down admin routes, hide internal-only endpoints, and even force specific HTTP methods into the right component type, all while keeping the rest of your API fully functional for AI clients. From FastMCP, import FastMCP. From FastMCP, server, OpenAPI import RouteMap, MCP type. MCP equals FastMCP, from OpenAPI. OpenAPI spec equals spec. Client equals client. RouteMaps equals. Hash analytics, GET endpoints are tools. RouteMap. Methods equals get. Pattern equals r/analytics/. MCP type equals MCP type, tool. Hash exclude all admin endpoints. RouteMap. Pattern equals r/admin/**. MCP type equals MCP type, exclude. Hash exclude all routes tagged, internal. RouteMap. Tags equals internal. MCP type equals MCP type, exclude. This demonstrates declarative route mapping for API to MCP transformation. The pattern uses rule-based configuration to control how OpenAPI endpoints are exposed to AI clients, letting you define routing behavior through structured policies rather than imperative code. What makes this distinctive is its separation of API structure from exposure logic, where routing rules become first-class configuration. The system processes routes through an ordered pipeline of pattern-matching rules, applying the first match for each endpoint. Each rule combines HTTP methods, path patterns, and OpenAPI tags to determine component type, with a fallback to default behavior. This declarative approach enables clean separation between your API's technical implementation and its AI-facing interface, making exposure policies explicit and maintainable. This matters because it solves the common problem of overexposing APIs to AI clients. Instead of mirroring every endpoint as a tool, you can curate the interface by excluding sensitive routes, converting GET endpoints to resources, or adding semantic tags. The pattern is particularly valuable when integrating with existing APIs, where you need to balance completeness with security and usability for AI consumers. Let's break it down line by line. From FastMCP, import FastMCP. This imports FastMCP, the core class for creating AI-callable tools from OpenAPI specs. It handles the conversion of HTTP endpoints into structured tools that AI models can invoke, while managing connection lifecycle and request routing. From FastMCP, server, OpenAPI import RouteMap, MCP type. This imports RouteMap and MCP type from FastMCP's OpenAPI integration module. RouteMap defines URL routing rules for tool exposure, while MCP type provides the classification enum, tool, exclude, etc. that determines how each route gets handled. These are the core components for selectively exposing API endpoints as AI-callable tools. MCP equals FastMCP from OpenAPI. This instantiates FastMCP from an OpenAPI specification, automatically converting your API endpoints into AI-callable tools. The factory method handles schema validation, route mapping, and tool registration in one step, eliminating manual endpoint configuration. It's the primary entry point for integrating existing APIs with AI models. OpenAPI spec equals spec. This passes the OpenAPI specification document to FastMCP, defining all available endpoints, parameters, and schemas. It's the single source of truth for API structure, ensuring the MCP server matches your actual API capabilities.
Client equals client.
This injects the HTTP client instance that FastMCP will use for all API calls. Without it, the server would have no way to execute requests against your actual backend endpoints.
RouteMaps equals.
This defines routing rules that determine which API endpoints become AI callable tools. The RouteMaps list lets you include, exclude, or categorize endpoints based on URL patterns, HTTP methods, or OpenAPI tags, giving precise control over tool exposure.
Hash analytics, GET endpoints are tools. RouteMap.
This defines a route mapping rule for FastMCP. It targets all analytics GET endpoints, explicitly marking them as AI callable tools rather than standard API routes. The pattern ensures these endpoints appear in the AI's available toolset while maintaining their existing API functionality.
Methods equals GET.
This restricts the route map to only GET requests. In this analytics context, it ensures only read operations are exposed as tools, preventing state-changing operations from being accidentally callable by AI models.
Pattern equals r/analytics/.
This regex pattern matches all GET endpoints under analytics, ensuring they're automatically registered as AI callable tools. The and create a prefix match, capturing every route in that namespace without manual registration. This bulk registration pattern eliminates repetitive tool definitions for similar endpoints.
MCP type equals MCP type, tool.
This designates the matched route as an AI callable tool. FastMCP exposes these endpoints to AI models as actionable functions, converting HTTP parameters into tool arguments automatically. This closing parenthesis terminates the RouteMaps list definition. It finalizes the configuration for FastMCP's endpoint routing rules, allowing the from OpenAPI constructor to process the complete specification.
Hash exclude all admin endpoints. RouteMap.
This defines a route map to explicitly exclude all admin endpoints from AI exposure. Security best practice. Sensitive admin routes should never be callable by AI models, and this pattern enforces that by path matching. The regex r/admin/ catches any route under admin and blocks it.
Pattern equals r/admin/**.
This regex pattern matches all routes under admin, ensuring they're excluded from AI exposure. It's a security measure, preventing admin-only endpoints from being callable as tools. The anchor ensures only exact admin paths are blocked, not partial matches like admin tools.
MCP type equals MCP type, exclude.
This sets MCP type, exclude, to explicitly block matching routes from FastMCP's tool generation. Critical for security and API hygiene, it prevents sensitive or irrelevant endpoints from being exposed to AI models, reducing attack surface and noise. Use this pattern to enforce strict allow lists by defaulting to exclusion. This closing parenthesis terminates the RouteMaps list configuration. It finalizes the routing rules that determine which API endpoints become AI callable tools and which get excluded from exposure.
Hash exclude all routes tagged, internal. RouteMap.
This filters out any OpenAPI routes tagged as internal from being exposed to AI models. Critical for security, it prevents accidental exposure of sensitive endpoints that should remain private. The tag-based exclusion pattern is cleaner than regex when you control the OpenAPI spec.
Tags equals internal.
This filters routes by OpenAPI tags, excluding any endpoint tagged with internal. It's a declarative way to hide internal-only API endpoints from AI tools, keeping them out of the tool schema entirely.
MCP type equals MCP type, exclude.
This sets MCP type to exclude, completely removing matching routes from FastMCP's toolset. Critical for security and API hygiene, it prevents accidental exposure of sensitive or internal-only endpoints to AI models. The pattern mirrors web framework route exclusion, but at the AI integration layer. This closing parenthesis terminates the RouteMap list, finalizing the route configuration for FastMCP. Without it, the route mapping rules wouldn't be properly passed to FastMCP from OpenAPI, and the endpoint categorization would fail. Standard Python syntax for closing collection literals. This closing bracket terminates the RouteMaps list configuration. It finalizes the routing rules that determine which endpoints become AI callable tools, which get excluded, and how the MCP server processes incoming requests. This closing parenthesis finalizes the FastMCP from OpenAPI, configuration, locking in all route mappings and client settings. Without it, the route rules and client connection wouldn't be applied, leaving the MCP instance unconfigured. Route mapping precision. FastMCP's route maps let you surgically control which OpenAPI endpoints become MCP components, using regex patterns, HTTP methods, and OpenAPI tags to classify or exclude routes before default rules apply. The first matching route map wins, so order your most specific patterns first. Default rules only apply after your custom maps, making exclusions more powerful than inclusions.
The route that disappears from the server appears everywhere in the client.